name is Jarrett, and I'm the chair of three great groups in the BCS, the British Computer Society, the Chartered Institute for IT in the UK and numerous other places. And that's a really super position to be in. And what we have today is another great event for you in the Wominspiration series, which, as you know, Wominspiration, inspiring women with inspiration for everyone. And that means you. So, of course, I'm going to introduce you, and I'll give you a break, and I won't do the talking through the event. We'll find somebody else to do that, who you might have gathered is featured on screen. But you'll see there are actually two people featured on screen, and it also says that this is a collaboration between BCS North London, BCS Central London, in fact, it's with South London too, and BCSWomen, which is another of those great groups, in addition to the BCS North, South, Central London, in BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT. And BCSWomen specializes, like all the other specialist groups do, but I can't remember what they specialize in. But I think we'll find out a lot more about that because we have the treasurer of BCSWomen here, who is called Jo. She's called Jo. Would you like to stand up? And she looks like this. Good. We've got a backup over there to her in case she gets
better. Look at
that. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jo in a minute. But first, I'll tell you that it is likely to get hot in here, I hope, because it's August after all. But hopefully not too hot. If it gets too hot, feel free to run out of here and go into nice, cool corridor outside. Don't shriek and cry as you go, just do it quietly. If there are loud bells, tap yourself on the head, make sure it's not coming from there, and then go to the fire exit, which is either the way you came, or turn left, big room there, far end, another fire exit, and flow out into the street outside where a whole load of people meeting, and we'll check you off against the registration list and all that stuff. So we're not expecting any fire alerts, so we should be absolutely okay today. And you look absolutely okay in any case. But if you find you're not absolutely okay during this session, the washrooms, the facilities are over there. Big tree. Don't use that. Turn right. Go down there. Toilets down there. So have a great time. And then we've got something to fill you up at the end of this, which is some food and drink, which will be in the room over there. But in case you feel like leaving already, there's none there right now. So that's an incentive to stay here and enjoy what we've got in store for you. And we have got something fabulous. In fact, we've got two very interesting people. One of them I've mentioned briefly, and that's Jo. But let me tell you a little bit more about her. I want to see how much it takes to make her blush. So I said that Jo is the treasurer of our BCSWomen group, and that's really fantastic. It's great to have this collaboration. But I looked at her LinkedIn profile, and it says, life. I almost slipped out there. I'm well on the way to becoming a life member of BCS. Jo might be the same, I don't know. But anyway, it says inclusive innovation, diversity, equity and inclusion strategist, tech and engineering, trustee, business psychology, data maestro, speaker, mentor, and for humanity fellow. I was looking for juggler, but it doesn't mention that. We might try to draw her out. But a couple of snapshots from her profile. She's the founder and director of Inclusioneering, Limited. So I wonder what that could be about. Be interested to find out more. It says here, UK-based social enterprise is supporting innovative tech and engineering organizations. She's a trustee of the BCS. Oh, so as I will continue to rely on BCS funding for these events, I'd better skip to the next one. She's a visiting fellow of Cranfield University, so that's great as well. And then she is in an organization called Aviva, not that Aviva, another Aviva, where she's a director of people, data, and insights. So that gives us a very brief insight into what we might expect from Jo. I am looking for insights about people from Jo, but I know that she's got a very special person to introduce us to after she's told us a little bit more about herself. Please join me in welcoming Jo Stansfield.
It's lovely to be here and to speak to all of you. Can you see me when I sit down? And yeah, to be in this collaboration with BCS London, with BCSWomen. So as Dalim mentioned, I'm treasurer of BCSWomen. Now we've actually got more events happening. It's turning out to be quite a hard job. It was quite an easy job over COVID. Now I've actually got some work to do. Also a trustee of the BCS. Now that big cloud of other stuff that Dalim talked about in my head is actually quite coherent. My background's in tech, making industrial software. So my career has really been about enabling engineering, especially on a kind of industrial scale, software, a bit for simulation, of data management. But over time, I've become more and more, I guess, fascinated by why we don't see more diversity in tech, because it was a career that I really loved, really enjoyed what I was doing, but I could tell it wasn't working for everybody. And actually then I had kids and I started to realize some of the systemic reasons why it really doesn't work very well for parents. And that set me off on a path that led to me deciding, as you do, to retrain with a master's in organizational psychology so I could actually have a more firm footing for some of the work that I was beginning to do with diversity and inclusion in the organization I worked for. Turns out juggling kids and a master's degree and work is a totally ridiculous idea, and it was really hard. So I decided to simplify my focus and to focus fully on diversity and inclusion side of it. So from the back of that, finishing my degree, I set up Inclusioneering Limited, as it says on the tin, helping engineering firms and tech firms with inclusion, looking at what goes on in their workforce and then actually tying that together with how they make their tech and their engineering, their processes and the outcomes of those things to people. So I've become really fascinated with the intersection of tech, engineering, diversity and inclusion, and so much more happening in sustainability. So for those reasons, I'm especially excited to invite our special guest tonight. Now, so excuse me while I refer to my notes, because Pearl has got a huge array of accomplishments, and so I'm going to have my turn to see if I can make Pearl blush. So she is a multi-award-winning change maker, and she's devoted her life to changing the world. She's founder and CEO of the Jarrett Foundation and also Veranda Connect, which is solving global water supply challenges using green technology. So Pearl has battled and overcome cancer, and actually from this has emerged determined to make a difference. And she's now an innovator, an entrepreneur, an advisor to Downing Street, a mentor, an actor, a speaker, and very, very much more. So I'm very excited to explore these topics with Pearl tonight and share some of the inspiration that she's given to me with all of you. So my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Pearl Jarrett to come and join me.
Hi everyone.
So Pearl, to get us started, you've said you can be anything you want to be, and I think your story really shows that you've made yourself into what you really want to be. Would you tell us a bit about you? Who is Pearl in your point of view?
Who is Pearl? So I love to, my showstopper, right? Every time I go into a meeting and I said, oh, Jarrett, and then my next line is, Oh my God, I've forgotten the phrase. It's a.
You're a disruptive
That's right.
changemaker.
That's right. You threw me with all of these things that I've done, and I'm just like, oh my God,
Yes, you do.
who is
do
that
all of
person?
those.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back in the room. So my showstopper thing is that I always say to people, yeah, I'm Jarrett, and I am a disruptive change maker. And then they all go, oh, and then they say, what's that? And I say, well, it just does exactly what it says on the tin. I disrupt things and I change things because I have this ability to kind of look at things and go, yeah, it's all right. But if you move that there and put that there and pull that there, get rid of that bit and hook it up with that bit, that would be amazing. And then people look at that and go, oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Most of the time they do that. Sometimes they go, no, I don't get it.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
These things come
Yeah,
together.
I don't get it. But most of the time, so that's what I do. And I say to people all the time, that phrase that people like to band around, so if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, it's nonsense really, because otherwise we'd never have innovation. We would never, why have a car when you can ride your horse? I mean, what would be the point of that? So innovation, key to it.
Amazing. And one of the innovations where we first met around your green technology in Jamaica. Tell us more. How are you disrupting water with your technology?
Okay, so I'm not particularly techy. Let's just put that on the table. Okay. Nobody asked me a techie question. Okay. This is why I have millennial children. Karen, how do I do this? This is what it's like in my house. But what I'm very good, as I said, I'm a problem solver. I'm very good at problem. So I run an international children's charity. Again, back up just a little bit. You kind of touched on it slightly. I was diagnosed with cancer some years ago, and I had this moment when I was in the hospital, and I just thought, what have I done with my life? I don't actually have anything to show. Career-wise, I mean, I had an amazing husband, I had lovely children, but if I look back over my career, it was flatlined, Joe. And I just thought to myself, what have you actually done? And I was in my 40s at the time, and I just thought, come on, Pep, get a grip. So I decided I was going to start. I drew up a bucket list of all the things I always wanted to do that I've talked myself out of, or I've allowed other people to talk me out of. So I drew up this list, and I said, I want to be an international children's charity. I want to run that. I can do that. Because at the time, we just had this Haiti disaster, and then 10 years later, they were still living in tents. I thought I could do a better job. Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought. I could do a better job. So I thought, I want to start my own international children's charity. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to do things. So anyway, so I started the Jarrett Foundation. So did some things in Africa, I did the Gambia and Sierra Leone, and then I went to Jamaica, and I thought we'll just do a bit in Jamaica and then we'll move out again. Anyway, been stuck in Jamaica for the last 11 years since then. But the thing is, I've been working with the schools, and they said, I said, what do you need? How can I help? And they said, furniture. And I said, well, okay, you just asked me for something a bit easier. I don't know. How am I going to do that? Anyway, I just thought I'll just make it up as going along. So came back and just spoke to every school in my local borough, and they started to send me furniture. Said, just send me the good stuff. I don't want the rubbish. Send me the good stuff because I want to get it to Jamaica. I persuaded Big Yellow to give me a warehouse, persuaded Six to give me a van and all this. To cut a long story short, persuaded Barclays to sponsor the shipments, and I shipped 8 40-foot containers, and we kitted out 136 schools. Wow. So we did that. I saved 70,000 tons of so-called rubbish from going into UK landfill. So wow. 70,000 tons. Oh. So while I was there, I'm like, okay, why is it, okay, I don't get it. Why is the school closed? And they said, oh, we don't have any water. I said, what do you mean? They said, oh, the water's run out. And so now we're going to have to truck in some water. And then, you know, but the water's not coming until Friday. I'm just like, you know what? So how do you cope between, so how do you get, they said, oh, if it rains. I said, well, suppose it doesn't rain. They said, then we truck in the water. And I'm like, this is 2021. I mean, is that the best we've got? I just didn't get it. And I said, okay, so what? I'm going to have a think about this. Then COVID happened. So during COVID, I just, when everybody else was binging on Netflix, I was watching webinars about water and webinars about solar and all this kind of thing. So I had the thing in my head, because this was my thought. This was my moment. I thought to myself, I've got one of those dehumidifiers in my house, and it's in the garage. I don't use it, but in our old house, we used to get mold going down the wall. So you have this dehumidifier, and then it would draw the water out the air. In the morning, you throw the water away. So I said, I wonder if I could get like a giant dehumidifier. Makes sense, doesn't it? You kind of look at it and you know, if I'd said that to you, you'd probably go, okay. But anyway, but what I decided, so then I decided to Google it. Giants came up and everything came up, and I was just like, so in the end, I found it. It's called an AWG. It's an atmospheric water generator. And it's the same technology as a dehumidifier. Okay, so we think we have a cost of living crisis here. In Jamaica, there is a horrendous cost of living crisis where literally you'd have to sell your children into slavery to pay your electricity bill. So I thought, well, I can't power it using the electricity over there, because that would just be crazy. We'll have a huge bill in order to get some free water. So it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to have to power it with solar. It's Jamaica. It's wall-to-wall sunshine. I mean, there's no shortage of sunshine, right? So I thought, all right. So I came back and I thought, because I was doing some work with Innovate UK and do some work with the government and this and that, I said, guys, show me the best innovation you've got in solar. Because I'm doing some work and I'm talking to all these stakeholders, and they're saying it's cracking. You know, it's the solar that comes in from China. It was not built for the climate in Jamaica, the salt in the air, being by the sea, and all of this. So I said, so I need something else. And then I looked at about 5 different innovative companies, and then found some solar that's made of rubber. So it's made of rubber and it bends and it cleans itself. So no cracking and all this business. Works really good in low, shady areas and all this kind of stuff. So I thought, right, I've got the power source. Then I thought, right, what I need is a battery. Because I thought, if I got a solar battery, then we could drive it with the power in the daytime, and then we could use it in the evening, in the nighttime, when there is no sun, and then we could make water 24/7. Well, it made sense in my head. So I thought to myself, I'm gonna go and where can I get a solar battery? Found out that there was an exhibition in Birmingham that does solar batteries. I have to say, the most boring day of my life. I mean, seriously, it was such a yawn. And I'm a creative, right? So talking to people about solar batteries the whole day was just, I thought, come on, Pearl, you're on a mission. Come on, we can do this. So I'd spend the whole day, and then right at the very end, I found this technology, right, with this solar battery, where the big thing at the moment in the Caribbean is they have no idea what they're going to do with their solar or their batteries, because there's no recycling of anything, right? So it's just going to go in the landfill. I'm like, oh my God. And for somebody who's just saved 70,000 tons of going into landfill, rubbish. So this technology, you open it up, and then you just replace the bits that are not working, and then you close it back up and you're gone again. It's like a battery for life. And I'm like, give me that one. So I took that with the solar and with the water and with no technology experience, and just kind of went, this kind of makes sense to me. So I took it to Brunel University, and I took it to the University of the West Indies, and I said, look at this for me. And if it does that, I said, I kind of think I solved the problem. Does that work? And they looked and they went, yeah. So now I'm talking to governments across the Caribbean. I'm talking to hotels. I'm talking to schools. I'm talking to the national, the health service and everything. Just trying to solve a problem in a school.
Wow, what a story, Pearl.
Yeah, sorry.
When you say you're a problem solver, I mean, the story just exemplifies that, doesn't it? Start from the school classroom, they didn't have water, to the breadth and depth of research, to meeting people in all kinds of industries, to meeting and influencing governments, so you can solve the problem potentially for Jamaica. And actually, I imagine this is something you may be taking beyond Jamaica.
Yeah, because now I've got other one of the guys on my board is an ambassador. So he used to be, because when he stopped, he came to the end of his tenure in the UK and they're sending him back to Jamaica, and I thought, I'm going to nab him. so I was one of the first, and I rushed up and I said, I've got a proposal for you. You can come on board with me. I'm starting this company. It's all about water and solar and this and that. And he was like, yeah, sounds interesting. And I thought, yeah. So the good thing about that is that he knows all of the Caribbean leaders. So I have a foot into all the governments across the Caribbean to help with their solar and their water, because they don't have water either.
It's a jaw-dropping story. I mean, I've talked to Pearl on many times before, and each time I speak to her, I learn something new about just how astonishing your achievement is. And actually, one of the things that really struck me as we've met, we've talked a lot about sustainability and how actually some of these green innovations, they're not going to come from people sitting in offices in London, in the Western world. They're going to be solving the real challenges that are out there for people that are impacted by climate change now. And that is exactly what you're doing. But at the same time, as a Black woman, more mature age, entering
I don't know what you mean.
field, I imagine.
21, I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't imagine this is a story that's flowed as easily as you tell it. There must be challenges along the way that you've had to overcome.
Yes, yes, and no, only because I, having looked death in the face, right? I've come to this point in my life where I just don't care. You know, when you just so before that I'll be like, oh, but I wonder they might say, or they might laugh, or suppose they don't get it, or suppose I'm the only Black woman in the room, suppose they think I'm too old, or suppose that she's there, yeah, Black and I'm old. We can do about it, you know. And at the end of the day, if I can solve your problem, I mean, and most people, once you solve their problem, they see past everything else. If I was to just walk in and just sit in the room, number one, lots of times I'm the only woman in the room in a techie environment. Number two, I'm probably the only Black woman in the room. Number three, I'm probably one of the oldest people in the room. You know, tech people like my son, they're like 30. And see, this is what was so cool about when I won an award. I won an award for what was it? It was a
You were a rising star.
So what's funny about Rising Star? What I find hilarious about Rising Star is that Rising Star is normally reserved for like young people. You know, so you're just starting out and you're rising, you know, so you're like 25, 30, but then we are the women. She said to me, oh, Pearl, you should enter the Rising Stars. I burst out laughing when she said that, because I thought she was being sarcastic. And then she said, no, it's for any age. I'm like, are you serious? And she goes, for any age. For any age. So I can, because I'm 60. Just so you know. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just starting a tech company, which is very unusual for somebody in their 60s. You know, they're probably winding down now. I'm probably looking to start knitting or something. And I'm just like, no. So I said, can I apply? She goes, yeah, and then I won. Rising Star, hilarious. Yeah.
Amazing. Pearl, I think one of the things that really helps people just resonate and relate to your story and recognize the work you're doing is that you're so involved in outreach and helping other people to achieve as well. Can you tell us a bit about your work?
I absolutely love. Okay, one of the things I don't appreciate is when people make it up to where they're going and then they kind of go, oh, I'm all right, I'm okay, and then they go off. And I just think that's kind of mean, because we need to be able to help each other to go, oh, guess what? I'm going somewhere. Would you like to come? And I like to hold the door open for other people, because I just think it's just nice. It's just a nice, good thing to do. So whether they're young people or whether it's people my age who feel stuck and they think, well, oh, what, I'm 50 plus, what can I do? And I'm just like, you cannot be serious. I am 60 and look what I'm doing. So I encourage people, whether they're young people or if they're older people, and if they're Black and they think they're stuck, I said, just shine. Nobody cares that you are Black if you are good. Nobody cares. And says, if you are rubbish and you're Black, then you then you got a problem. Okay, you know that rubbish Black lady, yeah, that one. You don't want that. But if you are good at what you do, and this is why I like to help people, right? Because I say to people all the time, it doesn't take away from me to help you. I don't need to trample on your shoulders, kick you in the back, stab you in the back in order for me to get forward. All I have to do is shine. That's it.
I think that's a real attribute of innovation, isn't it? You're doing something new. You're not having to do it at the expense of everyone else. You're creating new.
Never. I won't do it. I won't do anything at the expense of anybody else. I think there is room for everybody. And I can't do what you do, Jo. I mean, the technical knowledge that you have and all of that, I'm in awe. I'm just like, what? But then you think that when you look at me because of all the inspiration that I bring. And that's why I think we all need to come together. There's enough room. There's enough room for women to be in tech. And there's enough room for women of all ages to be in tech and all ethnicities to be in tech. There's room. Do you know what I mean? It's just we're only kept out of things because sometimes people are intimidated by what they see.
Yeah.
So that's a them problem, not a me problem. My daughter says that. She goes, "That's a you problem." She says it all the time. I think that's a you problem.
I love the way that you overcome the intimidating. I mean, the Pearl description is, oh, how do you do it? But as soon as we speak to you and hear you talk, that's overcome. You're just so open and personal and relatable.
You know what it is, Jo? I just think I don't, at this stage, I feel I have nothing to lose. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I tell you the worst that could happen. I'll fall over and you laugh. It's a free country, laugh. But the thing is, right, I might just do it and it be successful. So I am no longer limited. The only thing I have over most people is that I don't limit myself anymore because I've got this second chance of life. Most people are still in the first chance of life where they think, oh, I would apply for that, but yeah, I don't really have the qualifications. I would apply for that promotion, but Sally's way more qualified than me, or I would do this, or I would. You're going to be 80 talking about you woulda, coulda, shouldas. Just don't do it. Just go for it. I mean, what is the worst that could happen? Seriously.
Well, so something that really strikes me about you, Pearl, is that you do so many things. I mean, one thing I wonder is, how do you manage to do all of them?
Yeah.
An awful lot of strands of, I'm going to go for it. And you succeed immensely.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because so going back to, I refuse to limit myself. I think we should be able to, that's what my mum used to say, it's Caribbean phrase, whistle and ride. Okay, you should be able to, Barack Obama said, walk and chew gum. I mean, you should be able to do two things at the same time. Sometimes you can do 3, 4, 5 things at the same time. So just because I run a tech company, before that, I was a creative. And I'm still a creative, so I'm an actor. It's the reason why I am so animated. Yeah, I am. I'm an actor. I'm currently in a What's It's advert at the moment.
Is it on YouTube?
I don't know. I watch very little TV, to be honest. I don't have time, so people tell me it's on, and I go. And it's funny because every time something tells you it's on, I go, "Oh, is it on?" Because I record it and I think I've got paid for the day. Oh, that's it. And I completely forgot. Just now it's going on
It's out there in
television.
public now. People are gonna see.
So when they said, "Oh, I saw you," I says, "What was I doing?" I said, "Oh, is it on TV?" Oh, really, Pearl. So yeah. So one of the things I do, I'm an actor. What else I do? So I run the charity, and I run a tech company. I sing. I am a public speaker. I've just started a drama school.
You've just started a drama school. Of course you have.
Of course you did. Yeah.
Just like that.
Of course you do. Just like that. You see, because I'd been doing acting, and then lots of people keep seeing, especially people my age, keep seeing me on TV and go, "Oh my God, I loved acting when I was younger, and I would have loved to have done it, but and I'm just like, I enrolled. I tell them I enrolled in drama school when I was 54 years old. 54 years. I was the oldest one in the class. The most intimidating thing I have ever done in my life, because everybody in the class was the age of my children. Everybody was the age of my children. And I had to tell myself, Joe, stick with it, Pearl. It's okay. Stick with it. Because when you come out, you're going to get yourself an agent, and then you can get some work. And somebody needs to play the black mother. So, I mean, the world isn't made up of 25-year-old blonde girls. It just isn't. That world is made up of real people. So I said, so you 25-year-old blonde girls in my class, you can't go for an audition that I can go for. So then I thought, when that penny drops, I just thought, I got this. I got this. The only thing is, right, when we had to do like these movements, and like go on the floor and pretend that you are a spider, I'm just like, no, babe. I might get down there and I cannot get up. You have to come and rescue me and pull me up. No, I'm gonna sit this one out. But other than that, Joe, I was in there with the best of them. We still keep in contact now in my old class, and they'll call me Mama Pearl. Oh. They're all my babies, yeah.
Something I'm really interested in, Pearl, is the way that you can bring together all of these different skills from completely different disciplines. Do you see linkage between all of these different things you do? Is there things that you take from one and bring to the other?
If all of our skills are transferable. This is what we don't realize sometimes. And I speak to young people, and because we grew up in church, right? In the Black community, we grew up in church, and they work the cameras at church, and then some people are on the sound desk and something like this, and then they write their CVs, and it's just like, there's just, I worked 2 weeks of, they call it work experience in the insurance company. And I looked at your CV, I looked at CV and I go, what about the camera work? And they go, what camera work? I said, camera work you've been doing down at church for the last 3-5 years. Yeah. And they go, and I said, it's experience. Put it on there, it's experience. And they go, oh, I never thought of that. And then they start to think, I said, think back of all the things that you do. You just say, oh, I can help with that. And you go off and do that. Oh, I can help. And you go do. And I says, now write your CV. And they go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. I thought I had nothing to put. Your skills are transferable. Everywhere you go, you move. You don't just move job as a person. You move job with your skills. So something that you could have done over there, even if you did it in your spare time, you could get paid to do it over here.
Well, that's what I'm hoping to do with my diversity and inclusion work.
You know that, girl.
Volunteer, let's make it a business too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good, you.
Thank you. So Paul, what gives you your energy and what do you do to recharge? Where does it all come from?
My faith is very important to me. I don't think that I wake myself up in the morning. You know, I think that there is somebody, something else, something that I pull on that helps me to do what I do. And then I believe the second chance has given me purpose. So when you have purpose, you have a reason to do everything. Whereas before it was just a chore. It was just, oh, I've got to do that. I have to go to work because it's Monday, you know, or I have to do this, I have to do that. Now I'm happy to work on a Monday because I'm thinking of all the kids that will benefit from what I do. And that gives me a lot of joy, even when things go wrong. Like now I've shipped some stuff and they've shipped it to the wrong place. And I was just like, oh, I'm dealing with Laurel and Hardy. You know, that's why I call these two people. Yes. Everybody under 30 have no idea in the room who Laura is. It's okay, we'll let you off. But but you know, but I still once I get over the I think that's okay. And breathe. And breathe in and breathe out. And then I think of the kids and I go, okay, let's go again.
Yeah, so it sounds like the children have really been the focal
It's
point.
purpose.
Driving thing.
So it's everything. It's purpose to know that I'm supposed to help other women into industries that they are not. You know, purpose to be able to help people go up the ladder because they are not.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of down here in many situations. So it's knowing that I have a role to play and it's important. But even if no one else notices, I notice. And I want to do it because it's important to me. So when I get an award, I was like, yeah, result. You know? Somebody noticed. But if they don't notice, I still do it anyway.
That internal motivation.
Yeah. I need to. It's a part of being here. I'm still here. Why am I here? Why? I could have gone. Why am I here? I'm here because I feel like I have purpose and therefore I need to do it. Oh dear, Dalem's looking at his watch. I'd say you need to tell me when to stop because I could talk for England.
20 minutes till pizza. We're all right.
20 minutes till pizza. All right, let's wrap this up now.
All right. So Pearl, when you're looking back and thinking about your journey, you know, since you've had your transformation into the disruptive change maker you are, what really makes you proud? What are you most proud to have done?
My family.
Yeah.
That's my proudest, the best thing I've ever done. I married my best friend 36 years ago. He's still my best friend. I've got this thing on my wall. Marriage is not finding someone that you can live with. It's finding someone you can't live without. So that's what I have big on my wall when you walk into my house, and he's still my best friend. And then I have 3 children, and then an adopted son, so 4 children, and then a daughter-in-law who I adore. So I've got 5 of them who I call up. How do you do? You know, and then millennial children. Everyone should have millennial children. Yeah, so but that's my proudest thing. I have stable, confident, nice children. They're nice people, you know, and you know, they're not going to see you struggling with a door and a bag and not rush to go and help you and that kind of thing. They're nice people, and I like the fact that they are good people. You know, I like that.
That's it's so important to have people that you trust and you're happy to be with in your life. I've had a little internal chuckle when you were saying about having millennial children to help you. My kids are definitely within the Gen Alpha range and they're already helping me. I had to get my son to explain about how to make a YouTube short the other day. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to ask my daughter. So what's an Instagram reel? Yeah. Mom.
They know.
Mom. I said, okay, just show me once and then I'll buy it. Okay, good.
So it sounds like they've also been a bit of an influence as you've been
They're
going through all of the journey. What do you think the most important lesson you've learned as you've been through all of the work?
Do not underestimate yourself. We talk ourselves out of so many things. The opportunities that come our way, right? We talk ourselves. I mean, I said earlier about, oh, I would apply for that promotion, but exactly what they need, because the person or the guy or the girl or something or whatever the pronoun is, oh my God, these days. So that applies for the job may have the qualifications, but may not fit into the culture. So you might fit into the culture. So never dismiss yourself for anything, for any reason at all, because we, as I said, we talk ourselves out of things where if you just took the limits off and said, I'm just going to go for it anyway, then we would achieve so much more than we give ourselves credit for. Absolutely. I mean, every time my agent sends me an audition, I look at it and I go, like, okay. So I thought, well, I'm going to go for it anyway. I mean, you probably need Viola Davis to do this, but I'll give it a go. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I mean, what have I got to lose? I mean, the worst that can happen is that they go, don't call us, we'll call you. I mean, that is like the worst that could happen, But then sometimes you get through, and they sent me. I recorded an Etsy commercial in Canada. So last year, I recorded an Etsy commercial in Canada, and then they sent me to Germany to do this translation app thing. And then they sent me, where else? I went to, Belize. I was in a movie for the Hallmark channel. They sent me Hallmark. It was adorable. So they flew me to Belize. I was in Belize for 2 weeks in a villa on the beach. I think I shot maybe 2 days. I was there for 2 weeks. The rest of the time they paid me to sunbathe.
I think I'd be very envious.
And I was like, is this how the other is this how it goes? And I almost didn't go for that because it was one of those roles where I just thought, I think they got me confused. But I did it anyway. I thought, I mean, what's the worst going to happen? And I got it.
Yay! Congratulations.
In Belize for 2 weeks. Oh, mate, that was a job. Job. Yeah.
As I was preparing my questions, Pearl, I was thinking, if this is anybody else, I'd ask you to share a surprising fact about yourself. This has been surprising facts all the way throughout.
Yeah.
What has surprised you about your journey and what you've discovered?
I'm surprised by the doors that open for me because I open doors for other people. When you open doors for other people, it's just like what goes around comes around. You know what I mean? And when you're good to people and you lift up people, I find myself in the most situations, and I sit and I scratch my head and says, "How did I get here?" So I'm an advisor to number 10, and sometimes I just think, all I did was. This is all I did, right? So I was invited. I was involved in this adoption campaign. I adopted my daughter, my little girl. She's not little anymore. She's 21, but she was little. We adopted her. So then they asked me to be involved in this adoption campaign because they want more Black families to come forward because Black families don't tend to come forward for adoption. So would I help with it? And I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah, why not? So then they said to me, well. When I did the whole campaign with them, and I just thought, oh, it's over now. All right, bye. And they goes, oh, no. We're wrapping up the campaign with a reception at number 10. So I was like, ooh. So I was like, I was at number 10. So while I was at number 10, so me and my daughter were giggling and eating sandwiches. I mean, we're really mischievous in the corner. And then this guy comes up to me and he says, oh, hello, and who are you? What to do? And I spoke to him. It couldn't have been for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then he said to me, did you come back? And I was like, when you say back, when you say back, he said, yeah, could you come back? I'd really like to talk to you some more. And I was like, yeah, I mean, sure. And then when he said, so when he said, are you free on like whatever day it was? So I literally, I don't know why, I literally thought he was going to say, meet me at the Starbucks. You know, and then he goes, so I said, so where are we meeting? He goes, number 10. So you meant back to number 10? So every time I go back there, and he goes, and then I have this conversation, and he asks, and then he sits down and he notes it all down, and then he goes, well, it's really, I have no idea what he does with this piece of paper. He probably does this. And he goes into some hoop and then drops into the bin. I've no idea. But then I'll get a text, like at 10 o'clock in the night. It said, are you available to be at number 10 for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And if I'm not available, I go, yeah, sorry, I have to cancel that. I can't go to number 10. Can't get to number 10. So then they kind of, yeah. And then they sit me around the table, maybe about 2 or 3 other people, and they ask me, what do you think, Pearl, about this? And I'm like, so, you kind of go, you want to know what I think? Yeah, what do you think? What do you think we should do about it? Well, if it was me, I would do this. It's just, I note it all down. Again, I'm not sure what I'm going to I'll probably do that when I leave the room. I don't know. But then last week, I got invited, said, can you come to number 10? Same thing. Can you come to tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I walk in, and there's this loads of people around this round table. I counted them, sat there and I counted. They were talking, and I was like, oh, mystery of counting all the people. I thought, I've never seen this many people in this room before. How many people are around this table? 20 people. It was the UK Space Agency. Why am I there? I don't get it. And then they start saying things like, oh, you know, we really want to, you know, we are the best kept secret in the UK, and we really want to get the word out because we have apprenticeships and we have this and we have that, and we really want to get, you know, young people from disadvantaged backgrounds involved in space, and we can give them proper work experience, you know, so and we can give them apprenticeships, and we can give them, and I'm just like, so I said, yeah, you see, I work with young people. I work with a lot of young people as part of my charity, and I guarantee they don't know that there's a UK Space Agency. They know that there's NASA. Houston, we have a problem. You know, they know that one, but they don't know we got one in the UK. And he's just like, oh, will you come and work with us to bring young people in? I'm just like, yeah. Yeah. So now I'm meeting with all the head teachers and stuff of the schools that I do mentoring with. I'm just like, right, we need to get your young people. Let's get some young people who's interested in space. Let's get them down to the UK Space Agency and see, you know, what they're interested in, do some work experience. And I just find myself in these situations. And I can only put it down to, it's because I am good to people and I open up doors for people, that doors that I don't have to try open up for me. I'm not kicking down doors, Joe. I roll up and I have conversations like this.
Yeah.
And then I go home. And then somebody will say, can you come to the UK Space Agency? And they've invited me. This is the thing, right? They said, oh, would you come to the UK Space Agency? And they said, oh, and a representative of number 10 will come with you. So it's just the representative of number 10 and me. Yeah, I can be free. Yeah, I can be free on that day. Yeah, I suppose.
You can make some space.
I can make some space.
Well, given that answer, my next question seems a little bit superfluous. I was going to ask if you could have a coffee or a meetup with somebody famous, who would it be? But it sounds like you might have done it anyway.
Jesus, I would. I'd love to sit down and have a coffee. Jesus.
You'd have a good chat.
Let's have a little chat.
Yeah. What would you talk to Jesus about, if I can ask? If you got?
I'd like to say, what was it like growing up? And then you were just an ordinary carpenter, some bloke down the road. And then now you're trying to tell your friends that you're the son of God. Can you just imagine that conversation?
Yeah. It's one that's going to be a bit hard to
Okay,
get across.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you've ever been sort of put down in your life, that's probably like one of the major put downs ever. You know, how are you going to get that across to cousins? You know what I mean? At the barbecue, you know, you know, that you're the one that's been grown up with, chased around the park, you know, got detentions every day.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus, son of God.
Really?
Yeah, so you know, so it's interesting to me because you know when I consider where I've come from and where I've ended up, if you haven't seen me for a while, you don't get it. When you see me now, you go, "Oh, hell, yeah, I get that a lot."
Yeah.
And go,
Transformation.
yeah, life happens. Yeah, that's me.
So last one on who influences you, Pearl, and I wonder if you've maybe got some overlap in your next answer. Who are your mentors?
And this is a weird one.
Inspires you?
This is a weird one. I don't have any mentors. I really would like a mentor. I tried it once. And I didn't see the worth in what she was giving me because I kind of felt yeah, but I know that. So I would actually really love a mentor. But yeah, there's no really but really. I think I would really love a mentor, but I've never really come across somebody who I felt that they could really, you know, give me lots of information where I would sit and go like this. I want that person. I actually don't like being, I've got to the stage now where I'm the biggest fish in the ponds that I'm around sometimes. And I want to move up the next level where I'm in the room where I'm the smallest fish so that I can pull from other people. So I think that's even though I find myself doing amazing things down in this pond, I want to come out of this pond and I want to go into the sea.
You've got a bigger step up ahead.
Yeah, where the whales are. I don't want to be eaten. I just want to be there so I can go, oh, is that what whales do? Yeah, I want to do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So my last question before we hand over to our audience to ask their questions. What's your advice to our lovely audience? What can they do to become a disruptive change maker?
Don't limit yourself in any way, shape, or form. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Just give it a go. See a job and it's like a 20, 30 grand rise. You might think, oh no, I just want something that's like $1.5 grand. I mean, why? Why? You might get it. You might get it because as I said, you might be the right person to fit into that culture and they can teach you the things that you need to know. So I would say, do not limit yourself in any way, shape or form. Just go for it. You have nothing to lose. So,
thank you. So let's hand into the audience. Who has a question?
oh,
Yes.
hands. Oh.
Oh, sorry. Show it first.
Who would you go to for you? Who is that person whom you would like to go to and see if you can get
You see,
inspiration?
I don't know. I think I will just stumble across them in one of these doors that open for me. That's what I think is going to happen. And
You
then
don't see anybody on the horizon that you can say, this person is someone I can.
because with mentoring as well, it's somebody who has the knowledge to give you, but somebody who you really love as well that gets you. And I think the problem I have is sometimes people don't get me. You know, people, particularly people who've been around me for a long time and grown up with me, they kind of just go, yeah, it's Pearl in it. Yeah, it's a bit weird like that. Yeah, you know, she's out there. You know, really, really out there. But so I would like somebody who just sees me and goes, wow, I would love to mentor you.
Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? My husband. So well, but I'm trying to find somebody up here that I can, and I'm open. I'm open. I just don't think I've met them yet. That I can go, gosh, the knowledge that you have, and it's not just about money. I mean, they may be a billionaire, but they might not be. Do you know what I mean? They just might be somebody where I think, gosh, what you do and what you've accomplished, or your thoughts on things is just incredible. I would love for you to mentor me, and I think we would get on, rather than look at your phone and you just go. So, you see the name come up and you go, oh God. I don't want that. I don't want that when you just kind of go, and then they say, oh, I called you yesterday, and you go, oh, did you? Oh, and it says and then it actually says missed call, it's kind of pretend like you did see it. Yeah, so that's what I would like.
Next question.
What is your doctorate in?
Oh, now this is a story.
Can you all hear the questions before?
What's your doctorate in?
Otherwise, repeat it.
So this is my story. I was at university doing a PhD, and I did 3 years of my PhD, and then I got diagnosed with cancer. So then I had to drop out of university for the treatment. Remember that? Okay, so after that, that's when I had my epiphany that, Pearl, what you actually got to show for yourself. You were kind of on your way there with this PhD, but I've looked back over my life and I think actually, job-wise, you've accomplished nothing. So I decided, as I said, to drop the list and to start all these things. About 4 or 5 years later, I started to get really depressed round about graduation time every year. I saw this pattern. Every July, I would be like, I see people graduating, and I'm like, I don't even need to know them. They can get some random people on Facebook, but they've got their caps on and their robes, and I was like, huh? I felt like I was robbed. I really felt like I was robbed. So I just thought, oh, my son just go, Mum, just go back and finish it. You don't have to cry every year. Just go back and finish it. So I said, okay. So I went back to the university and I said, I'd like to finish. I've only got 1 year left. I'd like to finish my doctorate. And they go, no. They said, no. They said, it's too old. Your studies are too old now. And you have to start all over again. And we would love to have you back, but you're going to have to start from the beginning again. And I just thought, oh, I don't have the energy to do another 4. I just thought I only had 1 year. So, and then that was a time when the fees changed, because they went from 3 grand a year to 9 grand a year. So instead of being 3 grand for me to finish, it became just short of 40 grand. And another 4 years. And I just thought, I can't. I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy. So I went away and I cried every year in July. I cried every July. And then one day I got an email from a university, and they said, oh, we've been watching what you've been doing with your charity, and we would like to award you an honorary doctorate.
Well,
And I thought, oh, my first thought was, I don't need to cry anymore. I don't need to cry anymore. So when people ask me now, what is my doctorate in? My doctorate is in being good to people. That's what my doctorate is. That's my doctorate.
Very good.
Who's next for the next question?
Yes, I really enjoyed your presentation. But I'd like to ask, particularly for older women, because in the public sector, there's a lot of downsides. People are fearful. And I myself, as we trained, do data analytics, which is from apprenticeship. So how do you encourage older women who are fearful of returning to studying and taking on, apprenticeships and then technical IT skills, data analytics, AI?
So, and the question, so the question was what?
In terms of encouraging older women, who've been in jobs for a long time,
Yeah.
going to study and looking at perhaps opportunities to do apprenticeships in data analytics, AI, and the new technologies.
I would say, this is what I say to old women all the time. I said, you have a wealth of knowledge. That's why it's older people, they don't like to let them go sometimes because they have to pay you so much because of what you're worth, what's in your head. I mean, you know, if somebody's just come in and they're 25, you ask them. But the older people sometimes, because you have all this knowledge, and I don't think we appreciate the amount of knowledge that we've accumulated over the years. So what I would say to you is upskill yourself into things that they need for the future, right? That's what definitely upskill. Put it together with all the stuff you've done before, and then start your own business. You don't need someone to validate you, to say, oh, I think you're good at your job, so therefore I will give you 50 grand a year. You validate yourself. This is why I started the drama school, to tell people that, so listen, so I started the drama school, and then so that I could train up the community, a lot of people my age, and then so that we can go on and write our own productions and plays and TV shows that we can put ourselves in. So I don't need you to say, oh, Pearl, I think you're good enough to play this role. I think I'm good enough. My own role. This Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they trained together at drama school. They could not get a role when they came out of drama school. So they wrote their own movie. I think it was Good Will Hunting. They wrote their own movie and they put themselves in it and starred in it, and they got an Oscar. So you don't have to wait for somebody to validate you, to tell you you're good. You are good. So you tell you what you do, you upskill yourself, you train yourself in some things that people are going to need, and then you get yourself a website and put it on LinkedIn and say you're available to be hired. That's what you do.
Totally agree.
Absolutely. I mean, look at you.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, it's very empowering. Totally agree.
You don't need Aviva to tell you that you're awesome. You are awesome. You're Joe.
I can do it my way.
You do it your way.
Actually, it is.
But I only work, you can
very
decide,
satisfying.
I will start work at 12 and I won't work Mondays, and I'm going to holiday for 6 or 8 or 12 weeks a year and still make more than I made in my job. You decide. And I think you can't get to our age and still be bound by the system. At some point, you're just going to have to go, do you know what? I'm going to live. And live doesn't mean that you swan off and go and take a cruise for a year. Live can just mean that I now take control. I decide so that I can now spend time with my grandchildren. And it may mean that I up my fees, but I spend less time behind the desk, because you can. But I think we don't appreciate what we have. It's back to that whole thing again about, you know, just do it and just validate your own self. You don't need someone to validate you.
Yeah, I think that's very true. We can, every day can just seem normal, can't it?
Just be normal.
Not realizing the value that actually our normal selves bring.
If somebody's prepared to pay you 50 grand a year, right, you're probably worth, I don't know, $1 million. Because, do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they're looking at, you know, I don't know, their scorecard of you, but you know how good you are, how nice you are, and how well you do your work, and how well it's presented. You know that, even if other people don't know, you know.
Yeah. You know the extent of you.
You know the
they
extent
don't.
of you. So I would say, don't worry about it. Upskill yourself and do you, and be confident. And link up with me on LinkedIn. We got this.
Right, who's next for a question? Oh, I saw a hand at the back from David.
We've got a question from Kitty. Kitty would like your advice on how to overcome imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. So my son, is funny enough, my son asked me this morning, he said, Mom, do you ever get imposter syndrome? I said, no. You know, and but I know it's easy to, especially again, when you've arrived into something where you're feeling very, very, and you look around the room and you think, sometimes I have a glimmer of imposter syndrome. Like when I was sitting at number 10, I'm with the UK Space Agency. What am I doing here? But then I then tell myself the same kind of thing. I just told this lovely lady at the back. Well, I'm here because somebody has recognized and appreciates that I'm good at what I do. So it might not be the same as somebody else. It might not look the same as what somebody else would do. But if you're gonna get me, you're gonna get the pearl version. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get the pearl version. And this is why on imposter syndrome, I would say to you, just be you. Nobody can beat you at being you. If you tried to be Pearl, I mean, you'd make a rubbish Pearl, wouldn't
I
you?
think I'd be
You make a
Pearl,
rubbish Pearl,
absolutely.
and I'd make a rubbish
I don't think
Joe.
I'll try it.
Make an absolutely rubbish Joe. Because nobody can beat Joe at being Joe. And nobody can beat Pearl at being Pearl. So when you have imposter syndrome, just think to yourself, what do I bring that nobody else brings? And it might not be qualification. It might be your ability to hold the team together when everything else is breaking down. You're the one that can go, do you know what, guys? And you can keep everybody together. You're the one where it keeps people calm when everybody else is, run for the hills, run for the hills. Then you're the one that's able to keep everybody calm. So understand your worth and what you bring that nobody else brings. And when you understand that, that's your superpower.
It is. And actually, I'm going to add a little story of my own to that one. Is at one time I was feeling a lot of imposter syndrome for something I was trying to step up into. And I'd got my CV ready for it. And I decided to ask my then boss, who was very supportive, would you look at my CV for me? And actually, he looked at my CV and said, no, Joe, this is rubbish. This doesn't tell me at all about all of the amazing things you do. Where are you describing your value? And he crossed out half of it.
Oh, so he meant well.
He
Oh,
started
good.
showing me all of the things that I didn't see about me.
Yeah,
So actually, although we say, don't need that external validation, sometimes our friends and the people that care about us can actually give
Might
us
see some things about
some
you
of
that
the
you
things
don't
not
see.
spotted yet.
Yeah.
So,
And see the things that are so good about you that
Yeah.
make you, you.
Absolutely.
You.
Yes, it's so true. Yeah.
And nobody else, as I said, nobody else can be you like you.
Indeed.
So understand your worth and what you bring to the party. Everybody can't be you.
Next question.
It's not a question really. I just want to say that you don't need any mentoring or any mentor.
Yes.
Because you are a great mentor.
Oh.
And and you have lots of self-confidence, and that will boost everything that, make you achieving a lot. So anything that you want to get into, you have a touch of gold.
Oh, bless. I'll pay you later. Even know who to make that check out to.
Okay, time for one last question.
If you could go back and have a conversation with Pearl, who was in her mid-20s, is there anything that you would like to say to her?
Oh, I'd like to say, well, just get a I mean, seriously, I just floated through life like I was gonna live to be 100. That's why it was a major shock when they sat me down and said, actually, there's cancer. Because at that point you just think all the people I was horrible to, all the time I wasted, all the time, and you just kind of think to yourself, so I'm grateful for the second chance, but I really would have said, just be nicer. You get further with honey than you do with vinegar. It's people are nice to me because I'm nice to them. And I just think that I would say, get a bit more focused. Especially when you're in your 20s, you just think, well, I've got a degree, we can do that. I don't know. Everything isn't, I don't know. So it's just about today. but you can't live your life just for today. You know, my thing is now, I want to leave a legacy. When I'm gone, I want them to, the biggest church and everybody can't fit in the church and there's people outside and they got megaphones and and they're trying to hear what's going on. Can you hear what's going on? And they got loudspeakers outside. You know, so people in the street can hear because everybody goes, oh, she touched my life. So I decided to take the morning off. I come to the funeral, but if you know those funerals you see on TV and it's just like 3 people and the dog. It's just I just think that I've messed up if that's what happened.
So Pearl, give us your one last closing thought that you'd like to leave people with.
Right, go away. My final takeaway on this is really understand. Yes. And when you do that, you become less intimidated by other people. Something that you bring, something that no one else brings to the party. What is that? Focus on that, because that is your superpower.
Everyone,
Wow. Bring yourself to here and follow that. Well, it's my job to follow that with about 4 or 5 minutes of praise. What else can it be? Praise, particularly for Pearl. And if you're feeling worthless, then maybe you feel empowered, uplifted by that. If you're feeling worthless, even more so, then hey, you need to get some food and drink and talk some more. More of that in just a minute. But I also want to say, watch this space in particular, because after that, at all the pearls of wisdom, I'm sure that Joe is going to really start shining as well.
Awesome. I'm excited to see that.
thank you.
Well, a few personal words in terms of what we're trying to do. We're trying to help in general, and this is part of it. But just a few days ago, David at the back and I were invited to something. We went to Croydon and we went to LSBU, London South Bank University at Croydon, where there was a 4-story building full of people, full of activities, full of great vibes. It was Black Tech Day. I don't know why, but they expanded into the whole week. We went on one day. It was really uplifting. That was with the brilliant Dexter Sims, if you know him. But if you are in South London or would like to do more, we want to do more with them. We supported them in London branches, and we want to do more with them because they're trying to really change the perspective, the colouring view, if you like, in South London, and they're really doing it. So I think I might refer Pearl to them. do a reverse mentoring job. But in terms of other things, we have got some great events coming up. Joe and I spoke a while ago, and that's what this event came out of. We'll be doing more with BCSWomen, but also with the stream of other wonderful women with inspiration who have been coming our way. We hope you'll join us at those events. The next one is not a Wominspiration event, but it's being given by somebody who is actually on the line just now, and that's Kitty, Dr. Kitty Hung, who is going to be talking about business analysis in the future, in the age of generative AI, etc., etc. But that's going to be really good as well. And that's going to be on the 7th of September. So do try and come to that. That's going to be here as well. Kitty Hung, business analysis. And we've got lots more. But first, we want something from you. You've got these little white cards. They're not red cards, so you know them.
Send me off.
Yeah. Although I hope you will send Pearl off. Maybe into space, certainly to number 10, maybe out to your place, etc. But on those white cards, we'd like you to join us in something we've been doing. We would like to think we've been providing you with 5-star experience. It's a bit confusing. So how many stars from 0 is not applicable, from 1 till 5, do you think this event was worth to you? Put down a number of stars, and if you want to, write a line or two in terms of why. Yeah. So
So
if
is
you do
one,
that,
is one the worst? Yeah.
one is the worst. Yeah, we do get no stars, but I take those as being, oh, here's the comment. I absolutely want to put down. Never mind about the star system. But please do put down a number of stars and a comment. And I have 3 great colleagues of mine, strategically situated by the doors at the back of the room, who will collect your cards, please, as you go out. Because where you'll be going, I hope, is to the left, where there's
Where the
ample,
pizza is.
ample trays of food and drink.
We can get there quick while they're doing their
and
stars.
While they're writing.
That's it,
Yes,
yeah.
waiting for you. So thank you very much for being part of this. Give us a rating. See you next door, and let's carry on the good work.